I'm James Garcia Jr. I'm from Kingsburg, born in Hanford. Been in the Valley all my life, as you can guess. Since school, I've worked for Sunmade Raising Growers of California. That's my day job. But secretly, I've always been in love with books, and I thought about being a writer ever since junior high. But all of that got moved to the back burner, as they say, with career and family and kids and immaturity. I have to say that as well, because I just wasn't at a place to juggle everything that it takes to be what we call an indie or independent writer. I didn't write for 20 years, and in my late 30s, I really began to feel the regret I was going to have if I didn't give it one last college try. And so that's when I dusted off the old novel, the first novel, which was a crossover vampire story. And got that finished, found a small publisher and saw it published. And a few years later, I had the second book done, lost my publisher that I had, because it was a little mom and pop operation in England. And then after a one-day pity party, I like to say, I decided to go fully independent. And so I now have 4 self-published books. I decided to become a writer. I think it was a perfect storm in my junior high teenage years. I started writing short stories, and then novellas, short novels, and then eventually as I got out of high school and then into junior college, I started writing that first novel that had to sit for 20 years to be picked up again. Michael Slade, who not many have heard about, he's a Canadian writer, and that's not really his name. It was he and 2 other authors writing under that name for a while, and now it's him and his daughter. Really good dark stuff. Royal Canadian Mounted Police out of Canada, really good stuff. Serial killers, really dark and twisted stuff. But what I love to shock people is my favorite book of all time, considering I said I read horror fiction, is not horror in the least. It's Beach Music by Pat Conroy. And Pat Conroy, if you know Prince of Tides and all these things, you're like, oh, you're shocked now that I would like him. But he just writes such perfect prose, and he doesn't show off with his use of writing. Some people try to show off with the English language, and all you do as a reader is you trip over all the fancy words. But he writes perfect prose, and so many intertwined storylines, ties them up with a beautiful bow at the end. Fantastic stuff. So he's one of my, if I could be, I like to say, if I could be a quarter of the writer that Pat Conroy is, I would die a happy man. So it wasn't until Maria Zanini from Texas is a writer and just fantastic. She's a great friend, and she can do so many talents. So she once she buys the stock photos and puts them all together and makes the cover. So Seeing Ghosts, I think, was about 20 plus different photos put together to make the house and to make the yard and the sky and all that jazz. But anyway, when I told her what the story was about, she came back and said, you know, I was saving a model for one of my books, but she's going to be perfect for yours. And so that's the cover of Seeing Ghosts, which has really just been a huge hit. So Maria Zanini now has done all 4 of my covers, and it's just a masterful job. If and when I ever do go back to traditional publishing, I'm really going to push hard not to lose these covers, because that's what they want to do. They always want to change your covers and put their spin on it, and I really don't want to lose these covers. I really think they've done everything that they were intended to do. Advice I would give to my younger self is probably the same advice I give constantly, especially to young people. Don't give up, have no regrets. Don't let anyone tell you that dreams don't come true. As you know, I have not sold 1 million copies. I don't call myself a bestseller, but I'm writing these stories that are coming out of nowhere. They're coming out of thin air. I'm creating these worlds, and readers like them. So whatever it is that you want to do that. Don't let anyone stop you. Dreams do come true. It's not going to be handed to you though, so you have to put work into it. You have to never give up.